Chapter 1084. Don't count me. So, the strength of this group of them, comprehensively, seemed to be very strong. Therefore, when Chen Xiaoying just found out that she got the sixth group, she secretly rejoiced in her mind. All the candidates in the sixth group were better than her. Except for Han Xianer, they were all men. She would definitely be taken care of during the assessment. Chen Xiaoying was showing great courtesy to several men in the team. When she saw Shiyu walking over, she felt very terrible. She seemed to hear the sound of her dreams collapsing. Even if Han Xianer and Chen Jiansheng were more powerful, with Shiyu who was only at the foundation establishment stage, how could they have the spare effort to help her? When Hushi activated the information in the inscribed jade slip, everyone confirmed that she had indeed drawn the sixth group. Everyone's face looked very ugly. The one-minded Wang Hai said straightforwardly, "Shiyu, you may not know it. The second round of the Miracle Healer Academy's entrance assessment is often accompanied by casualties. We will not have the time to protect you. I think you should quit here, lest you die in there at a young age." Yang Hailong also said unceremoniously, "You will have more opportunities in the future, so why stay and be a burden to us?" Chen Xiaoying even wiped her tears and looked at Hushi pleadingly. "Shiyu, I'm 28 years old this year. This is my closest and last chance to Miracle Healer Academy. Can you please help me? Just quite the assessment, please. You are only 17 years this year. You can pass the assessment again next year." Several people babbled, all advising Hushi to quit the second round of assessment. Some even threatened her in the end. Chen Jiansheng had long been displeased with Hushi. He squinted at Hushi fiercely. "This is the unanimous decision of all of our sixth group. If you're smart, quit now. Otherwise, and we will definitely teach you a good lesson during the assessment." With that said, Chen Jiansheng glanced at the people around him and said triumphantly, "Don't you guys think so?" Chen Xiaoying, Wang Hai and Yang Hailong nodded again and again. Chen Jiansheng's gaze fell on Han Xianer, and he put up an instinctive pleasing smile on his face. "Miss Han, what do you mean?" Han Xianer glanced at Hushi, and she said coldly, "Whatever dirty things you guys want to do, don't count me in." When Chen Jiansheng and others heard this, their expressions were ugly. Chen Jiansheng wanted to get angry, but he managed to endure it and coughed in a low voice. "Miss Han, haven't you figured it out yet? Let Shiyu stay in the team. He will only drag us down. Never mind if I'm not the top one. But Miss Han and the others may not even pass the assessment. Aren't Miss Han afraid of this?" Han Xianer's complexion remained unchanged. She still had a cool and beautiful face. As far as I know, the top one of the freshman assessment 5 years ago was Vice President Caillou. At that time, his written assessment was less than 700 points, but he led his group members who were all condensation period early stage to get excellent results in the group assessment. Finally, they got the position of top one. Since Mr. Chen's written assessment scores are so much higher than Caillou's, it must not be a problem to lead one foundation establishment stage or even several foundation establishment stages, right? Han Xianer's words made Chen Jiansheng's complexion stiff. He couldn't say what he had originally planned to say. Chapter 1085. Unimportant member. At this time, Hushi's gaze also happened to fall on Han Xianer. Han Xianer nodded slightly at her. Her expression was cold, but her brows were more amiable than when she was talking to Chen Jiansheng. Chen Jiansheng's blood rushed up suddenly, thinking that Han Xianer had fallen in love with Shiyu, so she spoke up for him. His gaze looking at Hushi suddenly was like a poisonous arrow, which would kill her at any time. Chen Xiaoying and Yang Hailong were still unwilling, and they still wanted to threaten Hushi to quit. Suddenly, Wei Qingyuan appeared from nowhere and sneered, "If you don't have strength, just quit the assessment yourself. You don't have enough ability, but you persuade others to quit. What is this reasoning?" Wei Qingyuan's group members also laughed. "That's right. Your group has the first place and the second place in the written assessment, but you can't even tolerate a foundation establishment stage? How good are you to threaten others to withdraw from the assessment?" Since Chen Jiansheng and his group were dragged down, the chance of the others passing the assessment would increase. They were of course happy to see it. The faces of Chen Jiansheng and others were extremely ugly, but they didn't dare to say anything more facing the crowd. They gave Hushi a stern look and turned away. The most luxurious hotel in Miracle Healer City was Wangyue Pavilion, while the most expensive restaurant was Xianlu House. At this time, Chen Jianqing, Wang Hai, Yang Hailong, and Chen Xiaoying were gathering in Xianlu House, venting their depression while eating. When Chen Jianqing thought of what Han Qian'er had said and her attitude toward Shiyu, he felt an anger boiling in his heart. Chen Xiaoying was keen and observing, and she hurriedly said something to please him, "Brother Chen, that Shiyu is insensible. When the assessment starts, we can just ignore him. We must not let the person who is destined to fail to affect Brother Chen's results." Wang Hai and Yang Hailong went along with her. They kept flattering Chen Jianqing overtly and secretly, and Chen Jianqing finally felt a lot better. Suddenly, Yang Hailong pointed at the door and whispered, "Brother Chen, isn't that your invigilator Zhang Chong?" After hearing this, everyone looked over. Sure enough, Zhang Chong came in with a few young martial artists. Zhang Chong frowned and looked gloomy. When he saw Chen Jianqing not far away, his expression became even more gloomy. Yang Hailong said, "Brother Chen, don't you go up and greet him?" Although the score of each candidate depended on the results of the assessment, the invigilator's evaluation was also considered. Unless they weren't stupid, they would try their best to please their invigilators. Who knew that Chen Jianqing was full of sarcasm when he heard this? He sneered, "What are you kidding? I'm the top one in the written assessment. It is very likely that the top one of this year's freshman is me. Who is this Zhang Chong? Isn't he just an unimportant member of the Academy Student Council? Let me greet him. Can he take it?" Chen Xiaoying immediately smiled and said, "That's right." Brother Chen scored 999 points in the written assessment, breaking the Academy record. Even the president of the Academy Student Council, Lu Zhishi, can only score more than 800 points. How can this Zhang Chong be compared with Brother Chen? After Brother Chen enters the Academy, he will become the president of the Academy Student Council sooner or later. If Zhang Chong is smart, he should come over and greet Brother Chen. Yang Hailong and Wang Hai looked at each other. Although they felt that it was not appropriate to do this, they still smiled without speaking. Chapter 1086. Intolerable. Chen Jianqing was ecstatic by Chen Xiaoying's flatter. He had long been displeased to Zhang Chong, who looked down on him. "Humph, now I have become the top. Zhang Chong is just a member of the Academy Student Council. When I'm admitted, I will definitely be on top of him." Chen Jianqing and Chen Xiaoying said those slandering words without lowering their voice at all. Zhang Chong naturally heard it too, and his already gloomy expression was so dark that water could even be condensed from it. When he knew that Chen Jianqing's written test score was the first, and it was 999, Zhang Chong knew something was wrong. He was Chen Jianqing's examiner. He knew better than anyone that how many questions he had answered on the test paper. Even if Chen Jianqing answered all the questions correctly, a person who only filled out more than 700 answers in total got a score of 999 in the end. Wasn't this absurd? Zhang Chong almost immediately remembered Caillou bumping into him before he was about to seal the test paper. If anything could go wrong, it must be that time. As soon as Zhang Chong realized this possibility, he felt terrible. The students of their Miracle Healer Academy were also graded every year. Those with high grades would be promoted each year. Low grades would be demoted. Some would even be expelled from Miracle Healer Academy. As a member of the Academy Student Council, they were responsible for the invigilation of the entrance assessment, and they could get many scores. However, if someone found out that they had made such a mistake, not to mention that they would not get the score at that time, their score would even be deducted. If it was only me, then never mind. However, it was related to Caillou as well. If I reported this matter, I would cause the vice president to be criticized by the academy and get his scores deducted. Fortunately, Chen Jianqing's score just passed the passing line. In any case, the kid named Shiyu suffered a loss, but he also entered the second round, which is not too bad. So Zhang Chong originally planned to put this matter in his heart forever. But after listening to Chen Jianqing's arrogant words today, his sanity was almost gone. Such a scumbag. Because of my own mistakes, I let him be full of himself. Seriously, this is really intolerable. Zhang Chong's face was flushed red. He greeted his classmates. Then he walked toward Chen Jianqing's table and said coldly, "Come with me." Chen Jianqing still looked arrogant and proud. He raised his eyebrows at Qin Xiaoying and Yang Hailong. His expression seemed to say, "Look, I guessed it right. Even if it is an invigilator, he has to come to curry me." "However," he said unceremoniously, "is there something to do with me? I'm very busy now. If you have something, just say it here." Zhang Chong sneered, staring at Chen Jiancheng, and whispered, "Oh, really? Are you sure you want me to say it here? Actually, there is nothing wrong. I just want to talk to you about your grades." I remember. Before he finished speaking, Chen Jiancheng's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly stood up and intercepted Zhang Chong's words. His arrogant and domineering face turned pale. His eyes flashed with panic. He kept saying, "Brother Zhang, I think we should go outside and talk." Zhang Chong sneered with eyes full of contempt, but he didn't say any more. Instead, he turned and left the Xianlu house. Only Qin Xiaoying, Yang Hailong, and Wang Hai looked at each other with doubts. Chapter 1087. Warning. Chen Jianqing hurriedly pulled Zhang Chong to a secluded corner. After making sure that there was no one around, he said with a face full of suspicion, "Brother Zhang, what did you mean by that? Don't you know what it means?" Zhang Chong looked at him mockingly. "Chen Jianqing, you are really shameless. Do you really think you can get a high score of 999? Chen Jianqing's face turned green, and he straightened his neck and said, "Zhang Chong, what do you mean by this? How can I get high scores? Even if you keep looking down on me, you can't slander me like that." "Haha." Zhang Chong laughed loudly and looked at Qin Jiancheng as if he was looking at an idiot. "Chen Jianqing, have you forgotten? When you took the exam, I was behind you, looking at you scratching your head anxiously. You really think you can get the score of 999? What's more, if I remember correctly, the last answer you filled is just about 700, right?" Chen Jianqing opened his mouth in shock. He wanted to refute, but the guilty conscience and panic had completely suppressed his momentum. Because the invigilator only ensured that candidates did not cheat in the written assessment, Chen Jianqing had always thought that Zhang Chong did not notice how many questions he finished. "Zhang Chong is actually watching over me throughout the entire assessment, just waiting for me to make a mistake." Zhang Chong said coldly, "Chen Jianqing, do you want to know how your grades came from?" Chen Jianqing was taken aback, and he quickly raised his head. How did it come?" Zhang Chong sneered. "How do you think you came here? Do you really think you got it on your own? Tell you the truth, your test paper was accidentally exchanged with someone else. The score of 999 is not your score at all. It's not you, Chen Jianqing, who breaks the record." Chen Jianqing shivered, and he almost instinctively blurted out, Who did I exchange with?" Zhang Chong glanced at him with dark and cold eyes before slowly saying, "Your original score should be 503 points. Just past the passing line, and you are the last among the 48 people. Who do you think you exchanged with?" "Ah." Chen Jianqing widened his mouth in horror. The original green face turned even paler. 503 points. Besides Shiyu, who got last and was laughed at by everyone, who else would it be? However, Shiyu actually scored 999 points on the assessment. He is just at the foundation establishment stage. How could it be possible? The ridicule and warning in Zhang Chong's eyes became more intense. He whispered, "Chen Jianqing, if you understand your limit, you should behave yourself. Otherwise, if Shiyu is anxious and asks to check the test paper, then your good days are over." After speaking, no matter what Chen Jianqing's reaction was, Zhang Chong quickly turned and left. Chen Jianqing stood there blankly. His body was trembling as the evening breeze blew. He remembered that since the results were announced, he kept ridiculing Shiyu as trash to show his genius. Although Shiyu didn't say anything, he could be hating me. If Shiyu really goes to check the test paper, wouldn't I, Chen Jianqing, be over? No, I don't want to be over like that. I don't want to lose everything that I have now. This kind of feeling where everyone flatters me, I must not lose it. Chen Jianqing thought of his face distorted for a while. Then the panic in his mind was gradually replaced by the vicious killing intent. Chapter 1088. Long live Mom. Zhang Choming knew the truth, but he didn't report it because he is afraid of taking the risk of messing up the grades. Therefore, the only hidden danger I face now is Shiyu. So what if Shiyu's written assessment scores 999 points? After all, he is just at the foundation establishment stage. The group assessment of the Miracle Healer Academy has the most casualties. Even if Shiyu dies, no one would care about it. The muscles on Qian Jianqing's face twitched, and a sinister smile slowly appeared. At this moment, he suddenly began to rejoice that he and Shiyu were in the same group. Isn't this more convenient to get rid of this hidden danger? At the next day, all the candidates gathered in the square on time. It was just that today's square was very different from yesterday, because 8 teleportation arrays were inscribed on the square. Each teleportation array was glowing with shining brilliance at this time. The boy in green clothes stood next to the teleportation array and said, 8 groups correspond to 8 teleportation arrays, and the teleportation array will send you to the designated trial site. But before entering the teleportation array, please hand out all medicinal pills, weapons, and storage equipment, and put on the clothes specially prepared by our Miracle Healer Academy for you. Many martial artists who had participated in the assessment had known this rule before, so they quickly picked up clothes from the boy in green clothes and went into the hut to change. Hushi was the last to go in and change clothes. The trial costume of the Miracle Healer Academy was a blue and white suit. After Hushi put it on, she looked even more elegant and handsome. Shaoli in the void couldn't help but blush and said, "Miss, if you are really a man, all the women of the Miluo continent will be fascinated by you." Little Egg was nibbling on the stock food prepared by Hushi in the void. So he said vaguely, "If Mom is a woman, she will fascinate men from all over the continent. If she is a man, she will fascinate women from all over the continent. Long live Mom." "Eat your stuff," Hushi rebuked in her mind. Then she sternly said, "I can't bring a spiritual pet during the trial, so you all stay in the void afterward. No matter what happens, don't come out. Do you hear me?" The little guys all nodded obediently. Although they loved to play, they still had a clear sense of priority. As for whether the Samara Ring's void and the little ones would be discovered by the people of Miracle Healer Academy, Hushi had never worried about it. Walking out of the hut, everyone couldn't help but look at Hushi. Even Chen Xiaoying, who looked down on Shiyu the most, couldn't help but flush in her face. In fact, Shiyu's appearance was too perfect, too touching. Only Qian Jianqing's face turned gloomy. The surprise in his mind was soon replaced by the hatred and killing intent brought by panic. Seeing that everyone had changed their clothes, the boy in green clothes waved his hand gently. Soon, 48 identical trays appeared in the square. In the trays were placed a low-level storage bag, a set of clothes without any defensibility, a 4th-grade flying sword, a bottle of 4 medicinal pills, and an ordinary pill refining furnace. The boy in green clothes said solemnly, "This is all the equipment you can carry for this trial. If anyone is found to bring weapons and medicinal pills secretly, you will be forever banned from the Academy's entrance assessment." Everyone hurriedly took their own trays and put their things in storage bags one after another. Chapter 1089. Elusive Forest. The boy in green clothes continued. "You enter the teleportation array first. I will elaborate on the specific trial rules with you in the secret realm." The light of the teleportation array flashed, and soon the entire square was empty. At this time, a building of Miracle Healer Academy was filled with 48 members of the Academy Student Council and a few elders of the nascent soul stage. In front of these members, a translucent crystal stone emitting a faint blue light was placed. These crystal stones were the 9-turn recording stones, which was always called Sky-Priced Recording Talisman. The 9-turn recording stone was divided into the Child Stone and the Mother Stone. The Mother Stone could see the sights of hundreds or even thousands of miles around the location of the Child Stone. The inscribed jade slip carried by the candidates contained the ingredient of the Child Stone. Therefore, the members of the Academy Student Council only released their divine sense into the 9-turn recording stone to see the actions and behaviors of their examinee at any time. In front of the elders of nascent soul stage, there was a 9-turn recording stone that was 100 times larger than the Academy Student Council's members. The recording stone was shining with dazzling light, and a huge image was projected in front of them. The image showed the scene in the entire secret realm. The elders could switch through divine sense to fix the image at a certain position in the secret realm. As the 48 examinees landed at the different locations in the secret realm one by one through the teleportation array, the second round of assessment was officially started. After Hushi experienced the dizziness of space teleportation, what she saw, at first sight, was the beautiful scenery. At this moment, all of them were standing by a beautiful blue lake. The lake was clear, reflecting the undulating mountains, blue sky, and white clouds, and the sun shimmering on the lake. The scene made people feel refreshed. Hushi looked up at the sun high in the sky, and she couldn't help but wonder, are they still within the scope of Miracle Healer Academy? If they are really still in Miracle Healer Academy, then the strength of this academy is too strong. At a glance, there is no end to this secret realm at all, but the blue sky, white clouds, and sun are all real, which means that we are not in the virtual space but a real world. The area of Miracle Healer Academy itself is only that large, but it has to accommodate such a large secret realm. How powerful is the time and space spell of the person who opens this realm? Hushi was exclaiming when the familiar voice of the boy in green clothes suddenly came from high in the sky. The place where you are now is Elusive Forest, one of the 3 secret realms of Miracle Healer Academy. Your goal is to survive as a team in the Elusive Forest for 10 days. In these 10 days, every time the team loses one person, everyone's score will be deducted accordingly. If the team has less than 2 people, the team will be eliminated. In addition to the survival goal, you can also hunt and kill spiritual beasts and collect spiritual grass in Elusive Forest. All the rare materials in Elusive Forest that you bring out from the secret realm can be treated as a bonus point for your performance. Each of you has your own corresponding inscribed jade slip in your hand. If you can't survive in Elusive Forest, you can crush the inscribed jade slip, and your invigilator will enter the secret realm and take you away safely. Breaking the inscribed jade slip collar is equivalent to giving up the assessment. The team members will also be deducted points. Well, please keep the rules in mind and let the second round of assessment start. Chapter 1090. Walk our own way. As soon as the boy in green clothes finished speaking, the whole secret realm returned to normal. Hushi instinctively channeled her spiritual power first, wanting to feel the strong spirit in this elusive forest. However, as soon as the spiritual power cycled in her body, she felt something was wrong. At this moment, their teammate Wang Hai also called out, Why do I feel that I can't absorb much spiritual power? With Wang Hai's call, everyone immediately tried to channel their spiritual power. Their faces suddenly became very ugly. Chun Xiaoying bit her lower lip and said, The team assessment I participated in the year before last was also in the secret realm, but there was no such situation. It seems that the difficulty of this year's assessment has been increased. Wang Hai frowned and said, Miracle Healer Academy gave us only 4 spiritual healing pills. It is fine to travel in the secret realm casually, but if we encounter a magical beast, we have to replenish spiritual power after the battle. However, we can only absorb that little spiritual power now, for spiritual healing pills are not enough at all. The faces of several people had become extremely gloomy. This was not only related to the quality of the assessment results. There were dangerous traps and magical beasts everywhere in this secret realm. If there was no way to replenish the spiritual power, it would be very dangerous. Chun Jianqing rolled his eyes and suddenly smiled and said, Don't worry, the Academy not only gave us 4 spirit healing pills, but they also gave us a pill refining furnace, right? As long as we find enough spirit plants, I will refine the spirit healing pill for you. When Chun Jianqing said this, Chen Xiaoying and others were overjoyed and flattered Chun Jianqing. Chun Jianqing was proud, but Han Xin'er was still standing aside coldly. Her eyes were full of impatience. She didn't even mean to come over to please him. His soaring vanity was like a balloon that was punctured by someone. His face turned very ugly. When Chun Jianqing looked back at Shiyu, he became even more infuriated. The kid has already walked in the direction of the dense forest by himself, He didn't even tell us. His face immediately turned gloomy as he shouted angrily, Shiyu, what are you doing? Did we agree to go in that direction? Do you have a sense of teamwork? Hashi stopped, turned around and looked at him coldly. Who said I want to work with you guys? Don't you think I'm getting in your way? Just right. I also think you guys are getting in my way. So we go our own way. We won't interfere with anyone. As soon as these words came out, Chun Jiancheng and the others opened their eyes wide. Even Han Qin'er looked at her in surprise. In addition to being surprised, Chun Jiancheng also flashed a trace of guilty conscience and panic. Did Shiyu figure out my plan? So, he wants to run away from the team. But soon, Chun Jiancheng forgot the idea, and he solemnly said, What do you mean by this? Don't forget that you are only at the Foundation establishment stage. You can't even fight a rank 3 magical beast. If you die or quit the assessment, our points will be deducted. Chun Jiancheng's words immediately made Qin Xiaoying and others agitated. In fact, they didn't care about the life and death of Shiyu. But Shiyu as a useless low-rank martial artist should beg them for help. Her arrogant attitude really triggered them. Especially Qin Xiaoying, for so many assessments, she walked all the way by currying others, so she was particularly displeased with Shiyu's stubbornness. Chapter 1091. Stop messing with me. She stepped forward, grabbed Hashi, and said coldly, If you want to go, hand in the storage bag and medicinal pills given by the academy. These are our team resources, not yours. Chun Jiancheng and others agreed upon hearing the words. Wang Hai even sneered, If you want to die, we won't stop you. But we must bring back the things that belong to our team. You don't want to pass the assessment, but we want. Hashi's gaze swept across everyone's faces, and she finally stopped at Qin Xiaoying. Suddenly, her slender and white jade-like hand clasped Qin Xiaoying's wrist and pulled it lightly. Chun Xiaoying let out a weeping cry, staring at the young man in disbelief. Hashi's expression was still calm as always. When she flipped her wrist lightly, Qin Xiaoying's face was getting more and more ugly. She kept screaming, and her fingers that originally held Hashi naturally loosened. Hashi shrugged Qin Xiaoying's hand, making her roll embarrassedly on the ground. This scene stunned everyone present. Even Han Qin'er looked at Hashi with a complicated gaze. When Qin Xiaoying sat up from the ground, her nose and forehead were bleeding and her face was bruised. Her original pretty face now looked like a color palette. She stared at Hashi fiercely, but her body was shaking slightly. The moment she was caught, she obviously wanted to channel her spiritual power, but for some reason, her blood and spiritual power seemed to be frozen. The young man, who was only at the Foundation establishment stage, gave her a powerful and terrible sense of oppression. She dared not to act rashly. Hashi looked condescendingly at Qin Xiaoying. Then she glanced at Chun Jiancheng and the others and said with a sneer, You should feel fortunate that you are in the secret realm and we are in a team. Killing you all will only deduct my points. However, you better stop messing with me, otherwise, I can't guarantee what I will do. After speaking, she didn't stay anymore. She turned around and left quickly. Chun Jiancheng and others stayed were all in a daze. Until Hashi's aura completely disappeared, they suddenly came back to their senses. They looked at each other with ugly faces. Hashi felt a lot more relaxed after leaving the team. There were not many precious spiritual plants in this elusive forest. Hashi searched for a whole day and only harvested a few wind spirit rabbits and a few rank 1 herbs. The spiritual plant and magical beast must be at least rank 2 in order to get points, and the points provided by the rank 2 magical beast was very low. So these wind spirit rabbits and herbs were completely useless. But Hashi didn't dislike them. She temporarily set up a stove, threw a fireball, and cooked the wind spirit rabbit to fill her stomach. As for the rank 1 spiritual grass, she combined it with other common plants in the elusive forest to make various poisons and antidotes. There were not many spiritual plants in this elusive forest, but there were many common plants that she was familiar with in her previous life. Hashi collected them without hesitation, making Caillou, who was watching her, be puzzled for a while. He didn't understand why did this young man pick those useless grass and trees. After eating full and resting for a whole night, Hushi felt refreshed. Chapter 1092. Break the enchantment. Although the spiritual power of elusive forest couldn't be absorbed, the air was exceptionally fresh, as if every pore of her body was moisturized. However, Hushi was still troubled by the fact that she couldn't absorb spiritual power. She was also going to find enough spiritual grass to refine some spiritual healing pills for backup, but if the absorption of spiritual power couldn't be improved, it was impossible to support the completion of a furnace of medicinal pills. Hushi found a secluded place and sat cross-legged. After sitting still for half an hour, Hushi discovered that when her spiritual power passed by the Dantian, it seemed to be blocked by a faint, restraining force. Because of this enchantment, the spiritual power that should have gone into the Dantian was completely expelled from her body. In the end, the spiritual power absorbed couldn't even reach 1%. Hushi slowly opened her eyes and frowned. Is there any way to bypass this enchantment and let spiritual power enter and exit the Dantian normally? What triggers the enchantment? Is it the operation of the spiritual power? What if I can channel the spiritual power without being detected? Hushi's eyes suddenly lit up. She thought of a peculiar way. She closed her eyes again to channel her spiritual power, but this time, she also channeled her internal spiritual force. Hushi carefully wrapped the spiritual power with internal spiritual force. Then she slowly circulated it in her entire meridians before going into her Dantian. A wave of pure spiritual power suddenly spread from the Dantian to the limbs. It's successful. Hushi was overjoyed. This method really works. When she was running both internal spiritual force and spiritual power at the same time, she was able to absorb spiritual power from the natural environment at a faster rate. Hushi closed her eyes and began to experiment continuously to break through the enchantment by running the spiritual power and internal spiritual force at the same time. As she was getting familiar with channeling both different powers, Hushi's body exuded a bright luster. If someone could see the spiritual power with the naked eye at this time, he would find that a spiral of spiritual power had formed around Hushi. At this time, Caillou, who looked at the shadow summoning stone, was already shocked. She actually breaks through the prohibition enchantment of the spiritual power absorption. How is this possible? Isn't Shiyu only at the foundation establishment stage? Even I, who was at the peak of the gold core stage, definitely can't break it. How did Shiyu do it? Is he really a peerless genius once in thousands of years? Caillou suddenly raised his head and looked at the Miracle Healer Academy elders on the side. He wanted to tell the elders about this shocking thing, but he suddenly remembered Ren Shuoling's accusation and Lu Zhishi's lonely look. Caillou clenched his fists and said nothing. Then he continued to release divine sense into the shadow-calling stone. So what if Shiyu is really a genius? This also cannot deny the fact that he bullied and harmed Zhishi. Hushi was particularly happy to solve the problem of spiritual power absorption. In this way, the rank 6 magical beasts in this elusive forest would have no threat to her. Walking alone for a few days, Hushi would hide her aura and avoid the crowd as long as she encountered a group of candidates. With her current high cultivation, her harvest was very good when she walked into the dangerous places of the secret realm. At this time, several rank 3 and rank 4 magical beasts' essences were in her low-level storage bag. As for the high-rank spiritual grass, she didn't find much. She would refine them into pills even if she found them. On this day, Hushi was walking in a muddy swamp, and she suddenly saw a huge gray-white mouse rushing past her eyes. Chapter 1093. Unfathomable 5 Spiritual Rat? Hushi's eyes lit up. When there is 5 spiritual rat, there are 5 spiritual flowers. In her previous life, there was a saying in Changbai Mountain, if you want to dig ginseng, you have to find the Bohemian waxwing. Then it is the same in Miluo continent. If you want to find the 5 spiritual flower, first look for the 5 spiritual rat. Even though this 5 spiritual rat was only rank 3, it was extremely fast and was good at burrowing into the ground. Ordinary martial artists simply couldn't catch it. The 5 spirit flowers were the spirit flowers transformed by the natural spirit. Their ranks were not high, which were usually rank 4, but they often grew in batches. If she found the 5 spiritual flower, it meant she didn't have to work hard to accumulate points anymore. Hushi used divine sense to wrap around the 5 spiritual rat, then she followed it to run around in the swamp. There were a lot of dangers in this swamp. From time to time, a black crocodile would try to attack Hushi, but she just finished it off with a slash. In addition to the black crocodiles, there were ubiquitous mists in the swamp. These mists were all poisonous. If anyone ran into it, he would be severely injured even if he survived. But to Hushi, this kind of poison was nothing. It couldn't stop her at all. Poor Caillou, who was looking at her in the monitoring room, was already shocked by what happened before her eyes. Poison mist swamp, black crocodile, golden pattern leopard. These are all dangerous place and magical beasts that even the gold core stage cultivators are afraid of, but this Shiyu, who is obviously at the foundation establishment stage, can deal with them easily like chopping vegetables. How unfathomable is the strength of this young man. If such a person leaves elusive forest alive, wouldn't the Kainjishi be in danger? Thinking of this, Caillou's face slightly turned pale and frowned deeply. In elusive forest, Hushi had followed the 5 spiritual rats to find a batch of 5 spiritual flowers at the end of the poisonous mist swamp. These 5 spiritual flowers were swaying in with the winds. They had strong spirits. Most of them were rank 4, and a few had even reached rank 5. Hushi picked these 5 spiritual flowers, and she secretly moved a rank 5 spiritual flowers from the storage bag to the void. 5 spiritual flower was the best material for refining the spirit healing pill, but it was really precious and rare, so she had never gotten it in her hands. In the future, when she planted the 5 spiritual flowers in her void, then the quality of the spirit healing pill would probably be doubled again. Hushi left the poisonous fog swamp with satisfaction. Then she found a safe alley and took out the pill refining furnace given by the academy. Anyway, the trial was only a few days. Her points were definitely more than enough, so she didn't have to hunt anymore. In Overflowing Cauldron pill scripture, there were several pill formulas related to 5 spiritual flower. For the remaining few days, she would try it out. At this moment, Hushi, who was at ease, didn't know that a crisis was approaching her gradually. The members of the 6th team had gone through hunting and gathering these days, and they had also accumulated some points. Because they had Han Shinner, a master of the gold core stage, they did not encounter any danger when they encountered magical beasts below rank 5. Han Shinner kept her face cold. When she encountered the magical beast's essence and spiritual plants that were below rank 4, she didn't even bat an eye on them. Therefore, Chen Jianqing and others got a lot of benefits because of this. However, these people were awkwardly looking at Chen Jianqing. Because Chen Jianqing originally agreed to refine the spirit healing pill for everyone, but when they collected all the medicinal herbs, Chen Jianqing could refine them. Chapter 1094. Full of resentment, however, he found that the refining was unsuccessful at all. Every time before the pill was condensed, his spiritual power couldn't support it, and the pill refining failed. In order to support Chen Jianqing's pill refining, they also contributed 2 of their spiritual healing pill. Until now, these people had not had a single medicinal pill. They had become more and more unsightly when they encountered magical beasts. On this day, they passed through a valley and encountered a rank 4 magical beast. They spent a lot of effort to kill this magical beast, but this time, even Han Shinner was panting. She could only sit on the ground and meditate cross-legged. Chun Xiaoying finally couldn't help saying, If we can't find anything to replenish our spirits, I'm afraid we will die because of spiritual power exhaustion before the trial is over. Yang Hailong also frowned and said meaningfully, In fact, the 4 spirit healing pills were still enough to survive these last few days if we used them wisely. But, Haze, how are 2 spirit healing pills enough? Although there was also rank 1 spiritual grass in the secret realm, many of the impurities that were eaten raw were harmful to martial artists, and the spiritual power that could be replenished was not even 1 in 10,000. It was simply impossible to solve the problem. Chun Jianqing's complexion turned from green to white. He snorted and left with a flick of his sleeve. From being pleased to being questioned now, this kind of gap made him feel extremely depressed. But what made him more irritable was Shiyu. If I can't get rid of Shiyu in this secret realm, then one day this kid will reveal my results. By then, Chun Jianqing couldn't help gritting his teeth viciously when he thought of the picture of himself falling from heaven to hell. Why didn't Shiyu die sooner? If he is dead, then I have no more worries. If someone on the team dies, I can receive a point deduction reminder, but now that there is no deduction reminder, it means that Shiyu is still alive. Isn't Shiyu only at the Foundation establishment stage? Why is he still alive? Chun Jianqing walked farther and farther alone, only feeling that the wind in an elusive forest could dispel the resentment in his mind. Suddenly, Wang Hai's voice came from behind. "Brother Chun, wait for me." Wang Hai ran to Chen Jianqing and immediately comforted Brother Chen. The group of shallow people have never seen the world. Don't get annoyed by them. Brother Chun can get a score of 999 on the written test. That means you are capable. You can't refine pill because you can't absorb spiritual power in this elusive forest. They are rookies in refining pills. That's why they said that. Chun Jianqing finally felt better when he heard the words. He raised his chin slightly and snorted coldly. They will pay the price for looking down on me. Yeah. Wang Hai nodded repeatedly, gloating. I'm different from them. I admire Brother Chun from the bottom of my heart. I'm totally looking up to you. When Brother Chun enters the academy, don't forget to promote me. Chun Jianqing's vanity was satisfied, and the arrogant expression on his face was restored. As he walked up the mountain, he pointed with a smile. This small assessment isn't a problem at all. My goal is to become the top of Miracle Healer Academy and the president of the Academy Student Council. You just have to be obedient. Before Chun Jianqing finished speaking, he was taken aback and suddenly pulled Wang Hai to get to the ground together. Chapter 1095. I have a way. Wang Hai was staggered by the pull, his knee hurting on the ground, and he was about to exclaim when Chun Jianqing whispered, "Don't talk, look below." Hearing this, Wang Hai quickly looked down. Here was a mountain cliff, and below the cliff was a secluded valley. At this time, a young figure was refining pill in the valley. As the cover of the pill cauldron buzzed and vibrated, a strong fragrance of elixir spread out. The two people on top of the cliff could even smell it. Obviously, this batch of medicinal pills was about to be refined, and it was even a perfect batch of medicinal pills. Wang Hai looked at the boy intently, and his eyes widened as he blurted out, "Shiyu." It turned out that the young man who was refining medicinal pills in this valley was Hushi, who had been away from their team for several days. Wang Hai looked at Hushi up and down, only to see her neat clothes and a calm look. Even during the pill refining, her spiritual power wasn't blocked at all. He gritted his teeth. This kid is only at the Foundation establishment stage, and he is alone. How can he be so leisurely? This is totally different from our embarrassing state. At this moment, medicinal pills were successfully refined. Wang Hai and Chun Jianqing probed their heads and looked in the direction of the pill cauldron. With just this look, Wang Hai couldn't help opening his mouth wide. He said in a trembling voice, How come there are so many? Generally, a batch of medicinal pills could have more than 10 or 12 pills, and the Academy gave a low-grade pill cauldron. It was very good if 5 to 6 pills could be refined in a cauldron. However, a batch of medicinal pills refined by Shiyu had a total of 40 pills. Didn't they say that low-grade pill cauldron isn't good in refining pills? Didn't they say that we can't use spiritual power in the elusive forest? Didn't they say that the Foundation establishment stage's pill refiner cannot purify the impurities in the spiritual fire even if he has subdued the spiritual fire? How did this guy do it? Chun Jianqing's facial muscles twitched. He glared at Wang Hai and said coldly, Shut up. Be quiet. Do you want Shiyu to find out? If Wang Hai was just shocked and jealous, then Chun Jianqing was going crazy with jealousy. At this time, his killing intent toward Shiyu was even stronger than ever. Wang Hai swallowed and said in a low voice, "Why don't we go down now and ask him for medicinal pills? He is still in the 6th team. We are not good for him if we die." Chen Jianqing was silent when he heard the words, and he pulled Wang Hai back several steps. Until Chen Jianqing confirmed that Shiyu didn't notice them, he sneered and said, "Wang Hai, do you want to snatch all the medicinal pills from Shiyu?" "Of course I want. But, no but." Chen Jianqing squinted, lowered his voice, and leaned close to Wang Hai's ear. Shiyu is only at the foundation establishment stage. As long as we kill him, the medicinal pills and the spiritual plant we found will be ours. For pill refining, a spiritual plant was definitely needed. The medicinal pills refined by Hushi were so mellow and rich in aroma. The spiritual plant found must be of very high rank. As long as these spiritual plants could be obtained, their scores in this assessment would definitely be very high. But Wang Hai was shocked when he heard this, almost loudly saying, "How can this be? Isn't this forbidden in the trial?" Chen Jianqing covered Wang Hai's mouth and cursed in his mind. But the expression and tone on his face were exceptionally gentle. He continued to whisper in his ear, "I know that the Academy prohibits killing each other in the same team, but I have a way." Chapter 1096. Help, I have a way to make Shiyu die without anyone knowing. Even the invigilators will never doubt us. When Shiyu dies, her medicinal pills and the items in his storage bag will be divided equally between us. With the spiritual plants in Shiyu's hands, you will definitely pass the assessment. What do you think? Wang Hai was pounding as he listened. His eyes were flickering with hesitation and vicious ambition. The benefits of killing Shiyu were obvious. However, if the invigilators discovered his actions, it was equivalent to no further promotion. He might even be blacklisted by the Academy in the future. Seeing that he was moved by his proposal, Chen Jianqing hurriedly told his plan. Wang Hai's eyes brightened as he listened, and his whole body trembled slightly with excitement. Chen Jianqing looked at the flames in his eyes with satisfaction. He smiled and said, "As long as you do this for me, I will cover you in Miracle Healer Academy in the future. Let you enjoy the advantage of being on top of people." Wang Hai nodded repeatedly, never hesitating. His face was full of excitement. The two went back to look at Shiyu under the valley. Then they looked at each other with a cold smile, turned and left the top of the mountain. In the valley, Hushi checked the 30-plus spirit healing pills, and she finally showed a satisfied smile. In the past 2 days, she had refined several batches of medicinal pills with 5 spiritual flower as the main medicinal material. However, due to the poor quality of the cauldron, the number of refined medicinal pills had not been large, and the quality didn't reach the best quality. Isn't this failing the pure spiritual power effect of the 5 spiritual flower? Therefore, the unwilling Hushi tried different methods. Finally, she discovered when she put some water spiritual power into the spiritual fire to refine, the purity of medicinal pills would be greatly improved. Hushi picked up a spirit healing pill and swallowed it. What surprised her was that in addition to the rapid replenishment of the spiritual power throughout her entire body, Hushi also felt that the fatigue and hunger accumulated from refining pills for a long time had disappeared without a trace. The spiritual power that was replenished into her body didn't pour arrogantly as the spiritual healing pill, but it ran like a long stream of water in the dantian and meridians. They were also used to replenish spirits, but these medicinal pills were milder and easier to absorb than the spirit healing pills. This can no longer be described as a spirit healing pill, right? Hushi picked up a medicinal pills, put the rest in the storage bag, and then smiled slightly. "Since it is no longer a spirit healing pill, then I will name you 5 spiritual pill, the best 5 spiritual pill." The name Hushi had always been so random in naming, so in the future, the name of the 5 spiritual pill, which would be popular in Miracle Healer Academy and Miluo Continent, was decided like this. Hushi finally let a sigh of relief for successfully refining the best 5 spirit pills. She decided to try to refine another medicinal pill in overflowing cauldron pill scripture. Just as she adjusted her breath for a while and was about to put the raw materials into the cauldron, She looked solemn. Immediately afterward, there were bursts of panic-stricken cries for help from a distance. Hushi walked out of the valley, and she saw a man stumble toward her, shouting, "Help! Help! Somebody help me!" Along with this person, there was a hum that seemed to make the valley tremble. Behind this person, there was a dense swarm of bees covering the sky and the sun. Chapter 1097. How to Help You. From the speed at which the wings trembled, one could feel the anger and brutality of these bees. Hushi almost recognized at a glance that the person calling for help was Wang Hai, her teammate in the same group. The clusters of bees that followed behind him were poison spiritual bees. Poison spiritual bee was only rank 1 magical beast. Its stinger was poisonous, but it was not a problem to the martial artists at all. However, if thousands of poison spiritual bees grouped up to attack someone, it was even more terrifying than the rank 6 magical beast. It only took a second for a gold core stage martial artist to be killed by the swarm. Wang Hai anxiously channeled spiritual power as he ran for his life. When he saw Hushi, his eyes lit up and he rushed toward Hushi. "Shiyu, help me! Help me!" Hushi squinted at Wang Hai's face with a half-smile. Although Wang Hai kept yelling for help, there was no despair or panic on his face. Instead, his eyes were rolling around, apparently having some ill intentions. Hushi floated up into the air, leaping backward and quickly distancing herself from Wang Hai. Wang Hai was stunned for a moment, and he slowed down by half a beat. He was almost caught up by the ferocious bee swarm. His face changed drastically. He stared at Hushi fiercely while continuing to run toward her and saying loudly, "Shiyu, are you going to watch me die? Don't forget, we are in the same team. If I'm dead, your points will also be deducted." Hushi was calmly standing on a stone with a majestic attitude, and she said casually, "Oh, how do you want me to help you?" Seeing Hushi standing still, Wang Hai was overjoyed. When he was about to run in front of Hushi, he suddenly threw something at Hushi. Hushi only felt that a strong fragrance with the sweetness of pollen came at her. Oh, it turns out to be the hive of poison spiritual bees. No wonder so many poison spiritual bees are chasing Wang Hai desperately. Although poison spiritual bees were extremely poisonous and terrifying, their hive was a rare material. Not only is spirit strong, but it also has the effect of detoxifying many insect toxins. There was a medicinal pill in the overflowing cauldron pill scripture which lacked such a main material. Hushi smirked and kept the honeycomb in the storage bag. Since Wang Hai wanted to give her such a good treasure, she wouldn't say no. When Wang Hai saw Shiyu put the poison spiritual bee's hive in her storage bag, he cursed fools in his mind with a face full of ridicule. Poison spiritual bees' senses are not an ordinary sense of smell. Even if the hive is kept in the storage equipment, they can still sense it. This is also the reason why many martial artists dare not provoke the poison spiritual bees. Because once they steal their hive, the poisonous spiritual bees will chase endlessly until they kill the poacher. This ignorant Shiyu. He thought he could escape by putting the hive in the storage bag. Let's see how he dies here. Thinking of this, Wang Hai stopped running away, looking at the swarm of bees rushing toward Hushi with a gloat. Chun Jiansheng, who was hiding in the corner, was also full of excitement. Although he was unwilling to take the risk to provoke the poison spiritual bee, he must confirm the death of Shiyu with his own eyes. Seeing tens of millions of poison spiritual bees rush toward Shiyu angrily, he seemed to be able to hear Shiyu's painful scream the moment and see her turning into a dead corpse. Suddenly, realized that the poisoned spiritual bees that were chasing Wang Hai had suddenly been divided in half and flew toward him. The poisoned spiritual bee swarms were terrifying creatures that even the gold core stage couldn't deal with. Chun Jianqing backed away in fright, and he even pushed Hushi with grievance. I don't believe that he can be so lucky every time. Chun Jianqing picked up Wang Hai's storage and was about to leave to find Shi Yu. He suddenly heard Chen Xiaoying's voice. Brother Chun, are you okay? Just now I heard screams here. What happened? Not far away, Chen Xiaoying, Yang Hailong, and Han Xin are all hurried over. Even if Miracle Healer Academy stipulates that teammates cannot kill each other, but I have multiple ways to make a person suffer a living hell. Chen Jianqing shivered in first by Hushi's fierce aura at first, but he regained his consciousness immediately. He shouted, Shi Yu, you dare to hit me? You don't want to stay in the Miracle Healer Academy anymore? Chapter 1103. Roar of Magical Beast. Han Xin'er glanced at him coldly with a ridicule expression. Chun Jianqing, did you really get the score of 999 by yourself? Shi Yu's moves just now has proved that his combat effectiveness is stronger than the four of us combined. If he wants to deal with you and Wang Hai, does he need to go through all the troubles? As soon as Han Xin'er said this, the three people present were shocked. What does Han Xin'er mean? Although we were beaten badly by Shi Yu just now, we were unprepared just now. He is just at the foundation establishment stage. How could he be our opponent? Chun Xiaoying chuckled twice. Miss Han, don't make such a joke. How can this damn kid be possibly? Before she finished her words, Hushi's expression suddenly changed. She flew away directly. For a while, everyone who stayed by the stream, including Han Xin'er, was stunned. Chun Jianqing grabbed his painful chest, got up from the ground and laughed mockingly. What's stronger than the four of us? Pooey, he is just a coward. Didn't he run away before us? Chen Xiaoying and Yang Hailong also got up from the ground, and they wanted to go along with the curse. Suddenly, a strange beast roar came from a distance, accompanied by the screams of men and women. At this moment, Han Xin'er's face also changed, and she finally knew why she would leave suddenly. She immediately ran toward Hushi's direction without thinking. Hushi had found the trick to absorb spiritual power, so she was not afraid of flying. But Han Xin'er now only had one spiritual healing pill left. Of course, she had to save a little. For a time, only Chun Jianqing and the other two remained on the spot. They looked at each other, then looked at the distance in horror. Chun Xiaoying whispered, I seem to have heard the roar of the magical beast. Did someone encounter a rank 6 magical beast? Should we go and check it out? Or should we find a place to hide? Yang Hailong hurriedly said, We have Ms. Han, the gold core stage here. I think we should hide. Of course, Chan Jianqing wanted to hide, but thinking of Shi Yu who was still alive, he felt anxious like a thorn on his back. No, I must seize every opportunity to get rid of this hidden danger. Thinking of this, he said solemnly, let's restore the spiritual power first. Then we go and take a look. After Chan Jianqing finished speaking, he sat cross-legged on the ground. Yang Hailong and Chun Xiaoying looked at each other and could only sit down. However, before they sat for a quarter of an hour to meditate, the roar of the beast approached them quickly, accompanied by sharp screams. Far away, the one rushing forward was the young man whom they hated. The young man was in a pale blue shirt, and his black hair was fluttering in the wind. He flew in the air like an arrow. When he saw the three sitting by the river, a cold, hurried voice came. If you don't want to die, leave the stream immediately and stay away from the valley. It was Shi Yu. All three of them stood up from the ground with ugly expressions. Shi Yu was actually commanding them. Chun Jianqing was about to curse, but a beast roar caught their attention. Chapter 1104. Black Death Bear. If she didn't hear the roar, she would almost think that what was following Shi Yu was a moving mountain. Looking from the valley, only a huge black body and frantically dancing limbs could be seen. The black hair and limbs were stained with blood, and one of the front paws was holding a human head. It was not until the giant magical beast approached that Chen Xiaoying and the others discovered that this turned out to be a giant black bear. Yang Hailong suddenly stared in horror. This is Black Bear? Black Bear has always been the top in the magical beasts of the same rank. This Black Bear should at least be rank 6. Rank 6 Black Bear. That is a magical beast that can even kill the gold core stage with a slap. Why are we in such bad luck? No, it's not that we are in bad luck, but Shiyu brought the magical beast over. Chun Jiancheng cursed while running in horror. Shiyu, you bitch, you want to kill us all? If we are all dead, you will not end well too. Hushi didn't even look at them while they were scolding. She leaped into the valley and landed on the side of the stream. At the same time, the black bear also entered the valley. Hushi's eyes flashed as she said sharply, Wei Qingyuan, hurry up now. Outside the valley, Wei Qingyuan soon appeared. He, who had always been a gentleman, looked very embarrassed at the moment. His hair was scattered, his clothes were torn, and there were blood stains on his mouth. But he seemed very calm. As soon as Hushi spoke, he threw a few monster essence pills toward the valley. Then he made a complicated gesture, and an ice spiritual power was launched at the black bear. With a burst of tearing sound, a spiritual power wall rose up around the valley in an instant, and the black bear was trapped in the spiritual power wall, and it roared furiously, shaking the entire valley. Wei Qingyuan spat out a mouthful of blood, but he looked relieved. Even so, he was only relieved for a moment, then he looked worried again. At this time, many more examinees who participated in the trial followed one after another and landed beside Wei Qingyuan. Someone saw the black bear trapped in the enchantment, and they were relieved from escaping death. They said in joy, Wei Qingyuan, you are so amazing. You really trapped the black bear. Wei Qingyuan wiped the blood from his mouth and looked at Hushi with a smile. Shiyu, thanks to you. If you didn't risk your life to lead the black bear away, I would never find a chance to form the gesture. Hushi frowned, threw a medicinal pill to him, and she frowned and looked at the black bear that was going crazy in the formation. Just now she was in this valley. She suddenly felt the powerful aura of a magical beast and smelled the blood, so she rushed to check it out. Unexpectedly, she saw Wei Qingyuan and the others fighting against the black bear. When Hushi arrived, these people had already suffered heavy losses. The ground was full of corpses. Wei Qingyuan, the only combatant, was desperately rushing toward the black bear, trying to buy time for his teammates to run. The black bear's paw that contained lightning power was about to slap Wei Qingyuan to death. Chapter 1105. Change. The black bear was in pain. Its anger level rose from 7 to 10, and the hatred was all transferred to Hushi. Without even thinking, Hushi withdrew her sword and ran. At this moment, she heard Wei Qingyuan shouting behind her, Shiyu, take this black bear between the mountain walls. I will trap it with an enchantment. Hushi herself was not the opponent of this black bear, so there was the previous scene. Now, the black bear was finally trapped, and all the surviving couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. They counted the number, only to find sadly that there were not even 20 candidates left in the original 8 teams with more than 40 candidates. The second team, the fourth team, and the fifth team were all dead. For the other teams, except for the sixth team that was only affected at the end, most of the other teams were left with only 2 to 3 people. In the end, there were only 15 people who were still standing there. The black bear is just a magical beast, but it killed about 30 candidates. Even if it is a rank 6 magical beast, isn't this too unusual? Hushi said her doubt. Wei Qingyuan swallowed a medicinal pill and breathed a sigh of relief. I don't know why either. This black bear is very fast, and it is especially targeting us. Hushi frowned and said, Devour martial artists? Didn't those people crush the inscribed jade slip when they were swallowed? A teammate beside Wei Qingyuan said with a pale face, I tried to crush the inscribed jade slip when I saw Qi Hua was devoured, but no one came to help and I couldn't get out. What? Hushi's face became solemn. She took out the inscribed jade slip and tried it. As expected, even if the spiritual power was injected, there was no response at all. What exactly is going on? Wei Qingyuan's teammates' words made others echo. I also tried to crush the inscribed jade slip, but it was useless. When our teammates died, we didn't hear any more reminders too. What the hell is going on? Have we been abandoned in this secret realm? How could they possibly abandon us? Miracle Healer Academy's assessments have always been dangerous. Maybe this is a test of our ability? Someone immediately retorted, Isn't the black bear trapped now? Maybe this is just a new trial that the Academy prepared? That's right. Maybe whoever killed the black bear can become the top one of this year's entrance examination? Brother Wei can trap the rank 6 black bear. He should of course be top one, right? I think that Shiyu is also very powerful. He is obviously just at the foundation establishment stage, but the black bear couldn't even keep up with his speed. Yeah, we even said that he was a trash before. It turns out that he has such power. If it weren't for him, we would have died in the hands of the black bear. At this time, Chen Jianqing and Chen Xiaoying also walked over with ugly faces when they heard everyone's comments. Especially Chen Jianqing, who heard them talking about Wei Qingyuan and Shiyu as the top one, was burning in his heart. He was completely ignored by everyone. This kind of honor should belong to me. I'm the top one of this batch. I should be the one who gets flattered by everyone. Black bear, yes. As long as I kill the black bear, both my points and popularity among the candidates can be greatly improved. Chapter 1106. Chaos. Thinking of this, Chen Jianqing looked at the black bear that kept hitting and roaring in the enchantment. Then his divine sense unconsciously touched a colorful flower in his storage bag. This flower was called 5-color Luyan, and it was rank 5 spiritual plant. 5-color Luyan had extremely terrifying toxin. Even the rank 6 magical beast would be poisoned to death. Chen Jianqing accidentally found it in this elusive forest. He secretly put away the 5-color Luyan and planned to surprise Han Qin'er and others on the same team when calculating the points. But now, it was clear that this rank 6 black bear was more valuable than the 5-color Luyan. A mere rank 6 magical beast couldn't resist the toxin of the 5-color Luyan at all. At that time, I will be the hero in everyone's eyes, the true top one. Chen Jianqing thought so with a deep smile. Another person, who was looking at the black bear without feeling relieved, was Hushi. She looked at the black bear trapped in the enchantment with an uneasy feeling. This black bear had at least the cultivation of the peak of rank 6. Hushi could see through people's cultivation, but she didn't know much about magical beasts, and now she couldn't contact Little Egg and the others. Is this black bear really only rank 6? Why is it chasing after the martial artists? Why does it want to devour the martial artists? The inscribed jade slip originally used to survive has lost its effectiveness. Is it really just an academy assessment? Hushi frowned. She got up and walked toward the top of a mountain silently. At this time, the monitoring room of Miracle Healer Academy was in a mess. Elder Qin said with a solemn face, "What's going on? Have you found Elder Li and Elder Hua yet?" The boy in green clothes, who was calm in the square just now, said in a panic, "Because I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't notify the elders above the intermediate level of the nascent soul stage to stand by at all. Elder Li and the others are either in retreat or looking for opportunity in the secret realm. They can't be contacted for a while." Elder Qin glanced at the scene on the big recording stone, gritted his teeth and said, "If you really can't find Elder Li and the others, go and look for the dean or the branch dean. We definitely can't let all candidates die in the elusive forest. Otherwise, how do we explain to those families?" The boy in green clothes hurriedly bowed after hearing the words. "Yes, I will immediately let people inform the dean and the major branch deans separately." Seeing the boy in green clothes left hurriedly, Elder Qin still frowned with worry. Elder Fu on the side said in a low voice, "Elder Qin, don't worry too much. The new student Wei Qingyuan does have some ability. He actually traps the black bear with enchantment. As long as they hold for a while, nascent soul elders will arrive and bring them out of the secret realm." The Academy student council officers below all looked panicked. At this time, their recording stones no longer work, and the only recording stone above those elders was flickering. It seemed very unstable. Zhang Chong asked Caillou nervously, "Vice President, what happened? Why are so many people dead? Why are the life-saving inscribed jade slips of the examinees can't be used?" Chapter 1107. Is he crazy? Higher than Elder Qin? Zhang Chong exclaimed, looking at the black bear in the image that kept hitting in the enchantment and making the mountains tremble. You mean this black bear?" Caillou nodded and said with a heavy voice, "This black bear had been sleeping underground for a few days, so we didn't know that it had slowly reached the perfect stage of rank 6. Now, it is about to advance. It devours the examinees because their cultivation and spiritual power are the best for it. Oh my god. The rank 7 magical beast. That is the top magical beast comparable to the intermediate level and later level of the nascent soul stage. Zhang Chong was full of astonishment. Looking at the candidates who were still talking and laughing in the image, he said in a trembling voice, "The most powerful of these candidates is only at the gold core stage. Can they really trap this rank 7 magical beast? If this black bear gets out, wouldn't these examinees be all dead under its wrath?" Caillou glanced at Wei Qingyuan, who was meditating cross-legged, and he shook his head. "That's not necessary. This Wei Qingyuan isn't simple. I can't understand the enchantment he just cast. It doesn't look like a gold core stage can master this enchantment at all. They don't need to trap the black bear for too long. Ah Qing, the boy in green clothes, will soon find the elders of the intermediate level of the nascent soul stage back. As long as the elder arrives in time to regain control of the secret realm, these candidates will naturally be sent out safely." Zhang Chong breathed a sigh of relief. When he was about to ask about the origin of Wei Qingyuan, his expression changed slightly. "Chun Jiancheng. What does he want to do?" Caillou was startled, and he followed Zhang Chong's line of sight. A figure sneaked quietly in the direction of the valley, while everyone was not paying attention. After he passed the boundary of the enchantment, he was drenched in sweat, but his sinister, eager face was revealed. At this time, Chun Jiancheng already had a colorful flower in his hand, his greedy and excited eyes fixed on the black bear that was roaring in anger. Caillou and Zhang Chong looked at each other and shouted almost in unison, "Is this guy crazy?" The shouts of Caillou and Zhang Chong quickly attracted the attention of Elder Qin and the others. After discovering Chun Jiancheng's actions in the video, all of them looked pale. They exuded uncontrollable anger and panic. Caillou trembled. He has 5-color Lu Yen, which is a rank 5 poisonous flower. If this black bear is only rank 6, this 5-color Lu Yen can naturally poison it. But this black bear has already begun to evolve to rank 7 7th step. This 5-color Lu Yen may not only be unable to kill the black bear, but it will become a stepping stone for it to advance. At this moment, all the people in the monitoring room were shocked. They could almost foresee the bloody and tragic scene in elusive forest after a while. All examinees would die under the palms of the black bear. At this time, the boy in green clothes, who finally found a branch dean, was rushing over desperately. Chapter 1108. Heroic figure. However, Chun Jiancheng didn't feel that he had done anything wrong. On the contrary, he was filled with excitement and pleasure when he thought of the scene where he was being watched for a while. "Soon, I will let Shi Yu and Wei Qingyuan know who is the real top one." The way to use 5-color Lu Yen was to use spiritual power to crush the flowers into juice, then inject it into the eyes, ears, mouth, and nose of the black bear. However, the rhizome of a 5-color Lu Yen has a detoxification effect, so Chun Jiancheng had swallowed the rhizome long ago. He crushed the flowers with hope and desire. The fluctuation of spiritual power quickly attracted the attention of Black Bear. With a loud roar, Chun Jiancheng's original excitement and determination turned into panic in an instant. His legs were trembling, and he felt his pee leaked from his crotch uncontrollably. The black bear had already rushed toward him with a stench now, accompanied by an angry roar. Chun Jiancheng was really frightened. He screamed and launched the juice of 5-color Lu Yen at the black bear. Then he escaped desperately. Roar, roar, roar. The huge roar that shook the sky suddenly resounded through the clouds, and the mountain that was trembling slightly suddenly shook even more. Everyone who had just relaxed outside the valley was stunned by what happened before them. Someone shouted, "What happened? Isn't the black bear trapped just now?" Wei Qingyuan quickly threw a few monster essence pills into the enchantment while desperately channeling spiritual power. Puff! Wei Qingyuan spouted a mouthful of blood, and his face became paler than paper. However, the mountain that was about to collapse had finally stabilized at this time. Everyone looked at the black bear and the enchantment in shock. Only then did they discover that the black bear was bleeding from its eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. It was rolling on the ground in pain. Obviously, it was hurt by something. What's going on? Is the black bear dying? Who has such a great ability to kill a rank 6 magical beast? When everyone realized that the black bear was going to die, their panic turned into excitement. This is a rank 6 magical beast. Now it's dying? Chen Jiansheng, who was scared witless, was overjoyed to see that the black bear was dying. He swaggered out from behind the rock, adjusted his clothes, and said loudly, "It's a fluke that I can kill this black bear." What? It turns out to be Mr. Chen? Mr. Chen, how did you do it? Mr. Chen is able to kill the black bear. You really deserve to be the top one of this year. Chen Jianqing laughed and said, "Although I have a low level of cultivation, I still got the first place in the written assessment after all. I still have some medical skills. I can kill this black bear because I accidentally found a rank 5 spiritual plant, 5-color Luyan, in this elusive forest." 5-color Luyan? You got the 5-color Luyan? That's a rank 5 spiritual plant that is extremely difficult to find. Haha, the poison of 5-color Luyan can kill all magical beasts below the rank 6. This black bear is dead today. Mr. Chen is just at the meridian stage, but you can actually kill the rank 6 black bear. You are really a hero. You deserve to be the top one. At this time, no one noticed that the black bear, whose eyes, ears, mouth, and nose were bleeding, began to emit a faint beastkin power. Chapter 1109. Absolutely impossible. He squinted around, but he did not find Shiyu. He could only look at Wei Qingyuan provocatively. So what if Wei Qingyuan trapped the black bear? It's me who killed the black bear. It will be me who get the points in the end. The top 1 position? Who else can get it except me? As for that bitch Shiyu, as long as I kill the rank 6 magical beast, who else will believe in Shiyu's words, who is a foundation establishment stage? Ha 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 dash. Thinking of this, Chen Jianqing couldn't help but smile smugly. But the next moment, everyone heard a loud rumbling noise from the direction of the valley. The broken wall above the entire valley seemed to collapse like tofu blocks. At the bottom of the mountain, the enchantment that was at the brink of collapse couldn't hold it anymore. The falling boulders made a rattling sound as they rolled in all directions. In the flying dust, the red eyes of the black bear and the huge head stained with blood were revealed. With the earth-shattering roar, it was as if the scythe of the death was about to cut off the students. Thump dash, the timid person had fallen to the ground uncontrollably, shivering. There were also girls who held their heads and screamed, "Help! Help!" Some sensible people asked loudly, "What's going on? Wasn't it poisoned to dead by 5-color Luyan?" Chen Jiansheng, what did you do to the black bear? Chen Jiansheng's eyes were full of horror and disbelief. He murmured, "Is this possible? Impossible. How does it survive 5-color Luyan? This is absolutely impossible." Chen Xiaoying's eyes were full of despair and fear. She looked at Wei Qingyuan and Chen Jiansheng with hopes. You guys must have a way to subdue this black bear, right? I don't want to die. I still want to pass the assessment. There are so many things I want to do. I don't want to die here. I don't want to die either. Hurry up and think of a way. Wei Qingyuan's face was as pale as paper. There were bloodstains on his mouth. He couldn't even stand firm anymore. He shook his head and said, "I have no way to trap the black bear the second time." Wei Qingyuan's words sent everyone into despair. They suddenly remembered that if it wasn't for Chen Jiansheng, if Chen Jiansheng hadn't used 5-color Luyan on the black bear, maybe the black bear would still be trapped in the enchantment. At least, they would be safe for a short time. Chen Xiaoying suddenly screamed at Chen Jiansheng, "What kind of top one are you? If you are the top one, go and kill this black bear now. I don't want to die. I really don't want to die." Puff! With a sound, a strong smell of blood permeated the air. Chen Xiaoying widened her eyes in horror, looking at the dark red tongue pierced from her chest. The tongue was stained with her blood, and her pumping heart was rolled by the tongue. With a snapping sound, Chen Xiaoying's entire body was cut in half and fell to the ground. The heart and dantian were sent into the black bear's mouth by the dark red tongue. It swallowed without even taking a bite. The black bear let out a roar of pleasure, and the scarlet eyes were full of greedy appetite and bloodthirsty tyranny. In front of these weak creatures that made it painful and enclosed it tightly, It must devour them one by one. Chapter 11:10. The courage to survive. The candidates let out a shrill scream and ran desperately to the rear. However, the strength of the black bear that came out of the formation seemed to be much higher than before. It was not slow in the first place, but now it became even faster. The scarlet tongue could take away one's heart and Danteon in one strike. The valley was filled with the horrifying smell of blood, as well as horrifying screams. Han Shinner, who was running away, suddenly stopped and pounced toward the black bear. It's better to fight with this beast than to run away and wait for my death. Han Shinner had always refused to admit defeat since she was a child. She never allowed herself to admit defeat. Even if this black bear was a rank 6 magical beast whose strength was far higher than her. Even if she was destined to die in the mouth of the black bear, she would not allow herself to back down. Wei Qingyuan stopped and said solemnly, "Miss Han is right. The black bear is very fast now, and it recognizes our smell. Even if we run away, we will still die at its hands. Instead of waiting for our death, why don't we join forces and fight?" Of the 15 people, there were only 13 left, but there were a few gold core stage among them. Everyone stopped when they heard the words, staring straight at Han Shinner with sharp gaze. Their eyes were full of hope, hoping that Han Shinner would be as powerful as people said. Hoping that Han Shinner could at least wound the black bear. That way they at least had the courage to survive. However, the reality quickly gave them a big slap in the face. Han Shinner's sword tip landed on the black bear's fur, making a ding sound. The flying sword made of fine steel was bent. It didn't even hurt the black bear a single bit. The black bear roared wildly, and it caught Han Shinner in its palm. Han Shinner's face turned pale. Fear and despair finally appeared in her always cold eyes. The candidates below saw the scene and screamed in horror. Some timid girls even closed their eyes, unable to stop the tears of fear and despair. The black bear's tongue stuck out and rolled toward Han Shinner. The joy of devouring the strength of another one made its scarlet eyes glow. However, just when the black bear's tongue was about to touch Han Shinner, a fierce purple light whistled. With a piercing sound, the dark red tongue of the black bear was pierced by the purple light. The severe pain caused the black bear to let out an angry roar, and it instinctively let go of Han Shinner. Han Shinner fell straight from the air. She was shivering in fear until she forgot to use spiritual power to slow down the descent. Seeing that she was about to fall to the ground, a figure suddenly appeared in the air, caught Han Shinner firmly, and then landed firmly on the ground. Han Shinner was shocked for a while. When she looked clearly, she said in a hoarse voice, You saved me?" The young man had a delicate face and unparalleled facial features. Who else could it be if it wasn't Shiyu? Hashi let go of her, stood up, turned to look at the black bear that was covering its mouth and howling, and said solemnly, "Wei Qingyuan, didn't you trap it? What's going on?" Wei Qingyuan took a breath and said in a hoarse voice, "I don't know what happened. Chun Jianqing fed it with 5-color Luyan. We thought it was going to die, but who knows, it suddenly went mad and even broke the enchantment." Chapter 11:11. Other way, everyone's faces were full of panic and fear, but they were looking at Chun Jianqing with doubts and resentment. If this person didn't do that, maybe the black bear would still be trapped up. Chun Jianqing shook his head and screamed after being looked at like this. "It's not my fault, not my fault. It's obvious that Wei Qingyuan's enchantment is useless. Otherwise, how could it not be able to trap the black bear? That 5-color Luyan can obviously kill all magic beasts below rank 6. How could it fail? That's not my fault at all. It's not my fault." Hashi glanced at him coldly. The 5-color Luyan can indeed kill all magical beasts below rank 6, but this black bear has already advanced to rank 7. So your 5-color Luyan didn't kill T. It instead became a catalyst for its success advancement. What? Rank 7 magical beast? Everyone couldn't help but scream in disbelief. Didn't you say that the highest rank magical beast in the elusive forest is only rank 6? How can there be a rank 7 magic beast? Hashi gave everyone a cold look. So, you'd better stop expecting the academy to save us in a short time. The highest admission examiner of the Miracle Healer Academy is only the peak of Nascent Soul, which is lower than this black bear by 1 rank. Now the control of this secret realm has been completely taken away by this black bear. Even the elders of the academy will not be able to enter in a short time. Then what are we going to do? Are we just waiting to die in there? Woo! I don't want to die yet. I'm only 20 years old. I'm the most outstanding genius in our family. How can I die here? Wei Qingyuan said in a deep voice, Shiyu, even if this black bear is a rank 7 black bear, there are elders at the nascent soul later stage in the academy, so as long as they come, we can be saved, right? Hushi nodded. Then she looked at Qian Jianqing with cold eyes. So originally, the dozen of us had great hope of survival. As long as Wei Qingyuan's enchantment could trap the black bear for a while, the academy will find the elders of the nascent soul later stage. By then, we will naturally be saved. However, the appearance of 5-color Luyin made the black bear advance successfully. For the rank 7 magic beast, killing us is just a matter of moments. As soon as Hushi's remarks came out, everyone glared at Qian Jianqing fiercely, wishing they could tear him to pieces. Qian Jianqing now also knew what he had done. He was not ashamed, but he regretted it. Although he wanted to win against Shi Yu and Qian Jianqing, he cherished his own life more. Now that this black bear had become rank 7, didn't it mean that he would die in the secret realm? I can't accept this result. Hushi looked at Wei Qingyuan. Wei Qingyuan, do you have any other way to subdue this black bear? Wei Qingyuan frowned and coughed lowly before saying, there is another way. 13 of us can form a sword array. This sword array is very simple and can be learned without practice. Everyone just needs to stand in their respective positions, and it can play the biggest defense. Even the martial artists of nascent soul stage can be resisted. Is there any difficulty in forming this sword array? Wei Qingyuan nodded. Although sword array doesn't need to be practiced, it needs strong spiritual power support from martial artists. But in this elusive forest, we can't absorb and channel spiritual power well. This is the first difficulty. Chapter 11:12. Can or cannot also. The most important core of this sword array is the person responsible for attacking the black bear. Before the sword array is completely formed, he must resist the attack of the black bear and make it completely trapped in the formation. However, this person will be in extreme danger and will be killed by the black bear if he is not careful. Hushi nodded and said without hesitation, okay, just these 2 points, I will solve them. As she said, she took out a dozen medicinal pills in her palm. The pills exuded a faint medicinal fragrance. Medicinal pills, I will provide. This is a spirit healing pill that I have refined myself. One can be worth the effect of the 4th grade spirit healing pill, and it can last for a quarter of an hour to help absorb spiritual power. You let everyone take one. What Hushi took out was actually 5 spiritual pills. In the past few days, she only had time to figure out how to make 5 spiritual pills, but she was interrupted by Qian Jianqing and this black bear. Wei Qingyuan's eyes widened in shock. You refined these medicinal pills? But isn't this elusive forest unable to absorb spiritual power? I have tried to refine pill, but I couldn't succeed at all. The others also looked at Hushi with suspicion in their eyes. Hushi is only at the foundation establishment stage. How could he refine pills under such circumstances? And the spiritual power of the medicinal pills is so abundant. Hushi sneered. You guys are sure to discuss this issue with me at this time? At the right time, the black bear in the distance finally relieved the pain and charged at them furiously. Everyone shuddered. No one dared to hesitate and grab the medicinal pills from Hushi. Even Qian Jianqing wanted to shamelessly grab the medicinal pills, but he was kicked away by Hushi. Hushi ignored Qian Jianqing's roar and said to Wei Qingyuan, the second difficulty, I will be the main attack. You guide them to form a formation. I will give you 10 minutes at most. Can you do it? Wei Qingyuan opened his mouth wide with his lips trembling slightly. Shiyu, are you kidding me? You are only at the foundation establishment stage. Hushi narrowed her eyes and said coldly, don't talk nonsense. You only have 2 answers, can or cannot. Wei Qingyuan stared blankly at the young man's clear phoenix eyes. There seemed to be clear lights flowing and rippling in his eyes. She obviously looked weak, but when she showed that expression, it made people want to trust her unconditionally. Wei Qingyuan suddenly seemed to be enchanted, and he replied, "Can?" Hushi slowly raised the corners of her mouth. She finally revealed the first sincere smile since the two met. All Wei Qingyuan's thoughts were almost drowned in the young man's bright and confident smile. In the monitoring room, everyone held their breath when they saw that Han Qian'er was caught. Although if Han Qian'er was dead, Miracle Healer Academy could still handle it. However, the students and elders who were responsible for the entrance examination might all be implicated. Fortunately, Shiyu arrived in time to save Han Qian'er, who was at stake. As for Hao Shiyu, who was obviously at the foundation establishment stage, had such powerful strength they couldn't care much. Only Caillou frowned slightly, and he clenched his fists. Quick footsteps came from not far away. Chapter 11:13. Overestimating themselves. When Elder Qin saw the old man, he frowned and thought, "Why is it him?" The boy in green clothes said while panting, "Master, I searched all the branches, and I only found the branch Dean Zeng." The Academy Student Council's members were still fine, but the elders looked awkward seeing this messy and wine-smelling person. The old man hiccuped and said impatiently, "What happened? Why ask me over in a hurry? I'm sleeping soundly in my room." Elder Qin coughed, lowered his eyes and said, "Branch Dean Zeng, the matter is urgent. Sorry for disturbing your rest." He pointed to the recording stone screen behind him and said solemnly, "In the elusive forest, a sleeping rank 6 black bear suddenly started to advance to rank 7. Our cultivation is not enough, so we have lost control of the secret realm. Right now, those students who participated in the assessment are still in the secret realm, facing a life-and-death crisis. We have to ask Dean Zengfan for help." Rank 7 black bear? The old man surnamed Zeng suddenly opened his eyes with fiery eyes. He appeared in front of the image in a flash, frowning deeply as he looked at the candidates who were in fear and panic and the roaring black bear not far away. "I can take back the control of the secret realm, but it will take at least 10 minutes. The old man said decisively, "Judging from the cultivation of these people in the secret realm, not to mention 10 minutes, they can't even last for 5 minutes. Elder Qin and the other elders, despite being mentally prepared, still looked extremely ugly. But now, there was no other way. They had to still do it. Save as much as they could after regaining control of the secret realm. Elder Qin gritted his teeth and said, "Branch Dean Zeng, please help." Hearing this, the old man glanced at him with burning eyes. Then he said with a deep smile, "Okay, bring me enough crystal stones." Crystal stones of 5th grade and 6th grade were extremely rare outside, but as soon as Branch Dean Zeng spoke, the 5th grade and 6th grade crystal stones were sent in batches as if they were free of money. The old man was about to start channeling spiritual power to invade the secret realm. Then he suddenly fixed his gaze on the image with a somewhat shocked expression. Because of the old man's expression, everyone turned their attention to the influence, and then their eyes widened, their faces full of disbelief. Those little guys whose highest cultivation level is just at the gold core stage, and the lowest cultivation level is even at the foundation establishment stage. Facing the rank 7 black bear, instead of running away, they even stand around the black bear in different directions. The black bear looked at the people around it and let out a roaring roar. It wanted to smash all these weak creatures who dared to provoke it and hurt it again and again. Someone from the Academy Student Council exclaimed, "Are they crazy? Why are they surrounding the black bear? Are they going to fight the black bear? How could they be the opponents of rank 7 magical beast? Shouldn't they run for their life to buy time now?" The others nodded with faces full of worry and disapproval. Even the elders above looked ugly. They secretly scolded these candidates for overestimating themselves. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.